Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for joining. My name is Matt Edmonds. I am the Director of Admissions here in the Stetson Hatcher School of Business. Thank you very much. Today, we have a fantastic guest in Haley. Haley, hello.
Hello, thanks for having me, Matt.
So very, very quickly, talk a little bit about your undergraduate experience. What was your degree in and why did you choose an MBA?
Yeah, so I received my undergrad in business management and administration from the University of North Georgia, nestled in Dahlonega. And then following graduation, I entered the corporate side of things. And I gained about 2 years of experience before looking into MBA programs. I kind of wanted to know the gaps I needed an MBA to fill. So once I had those 2 years of experience, I started applying. And yeah, I knew I could only move up so far with a 4-year degree because everyone has one now. It doesn't really set you apart anymore to just have a 4-year degree. So I was like, I have to get my MBA so I can set myself apart from all the other candidates.
And I think and that's a really good point because they do say that. They do say that college degree is now the equivalent of a high school diploma 15, 20 years ago. So, you are looking to advance yourself, enhance yourself, and eventually be able to move through that ceiling that you're eventually about going to hit. So obviously there are a lot of MBA programs out there. So, and why did you choose Mercer University?
Yeah, so I am originally from Georgia. I live in Colorado now. So I just knew the reputation Mercer had. So I was very adamant about attending Mercer for MBA because I knew the degree was highly regarded and employers would see that I attended Mercer and know I completed a rigorous education program and know that probably anything they throw in my direction, I could handle after completing it.
So going through that, so what was your experiences like within the program? What the relationships were you built? Did you build during your actual studies here?
It was incredible. I really enjoyed it. I think it took me about a year and a half. And I was pushed to apply myself more than I ever had, definitely in my undergrad. And that's all thanks to the incredible professors that Mercer employs. So with that, my relationships with the professors and colleagues grew greatly throughout the duration of the program. And in addition, there were lots of teamwork. I really wasn't expecting so much teamwork assignments throughout the program, but your colleagues really become someone to lean on to throughout the whole program. And then, following it, you're connected on LinkedIn and they become a part of your network. And I've even had some messages come in, hey, do you have any openings and vice versa. So it's already been a great networking tool to have done that teamwork and have the relationships with the professors.
Well, I think that is the great thing. We have 14,000 alums within the business school. So I think that networking part is a continuous lifelong adventure, which I think is pretty awesome.
Absolutely.
So during your 18 months within the program, what was your favorite part of the program? Maybe some of the highlights of the curriculum and how did that impact you? Were you working as you were studying? So how did that impact you as professionally?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And there's a lot of people ask me that, and I have the same answer all the time. So the biggest takeaway I had from the Mercer MBA program was knowing my leadership abilities. It's not really something you focus on in undergrad. You kind of learn the operations and finance side of things. Throughout the program, I took a few leadership focused classes, some being human capital management, others being ethical leadership. And we had to take extensive personality tests. And I learned that I was autocratic, which is not a good quality for a leader to have. So with that, they also taught how to bridge that gap. Learn to delegate, learn to trust your team and not micromanage. And that was my biggest takeaway because I tried to apply it in my professional life. And 1 year later, I'm in a management role, trusting my team, delegating. So it completely changed my outlook on how I manage people, how I want to lead, how I want to be perceived. And, you learn so much, but I think the leadership abilities and how I operate was the biggest takeaway.
So that's self-reflection part as well. I think as you do, going through my graduate experience, I think there is a lot of self-reflection from the amount of personality tests you do throughout the program, whether it's DISC, the Big Five, the higher education one of Myers-Briggs. But I think that idea of self-reflection, but then also realizing you've noticed one thing about you, the autocratic part, reflection on that. And as you just mentioned, you're now in a leadership role.
Yes, and I'm very conscious about, doing the things to bridge those gaps, because you are who you are. It's hard to change that. But as long as you know how to bridge the gaps, which is what I learned in the program, I think you can, cover all your bases there.
So going through that, so how did the program itself impact your career goals?
Yeah, so I was working throughout the duration of the program, and I made a promise kind of during the program not to spread myself too thin, because, working and just living your normal day-to-day life and an MBA can be a lot. So I actually had to say no to quite a few things throughout the time. I turned down a promotion during the program because I wanted to allot my time and effort to one thing, rather than, like I said, spreading myself too thin. And I'm like, the promotion can come later, which it did. But as far as goals, I've always tended to shoot for the stars. So even prior to the MBA, my career goal was to be a C-level person before my mid-30s hit. So I still have some time there. But the program didn't really change my goals, but it gave me the tools to actually do it.
It's a great way to look at it. So going through that and turning down the promotions and moving forward. So what are you doing now? Sort of tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I am the marketing and public relations manager at M3. And M3 is a hotel back office accounting solution. We have about 7,500 hotels online with us today throughout the US and Canada. And hopefully we're about to hop the pond and get into Europe so I can start traveling there. But I devise our go-to-market strategy, ensure communications consistent between customers and prospects, interview customers for case studies, host our podcast, really any marketing facet you can think of. But the most important part about my job is really ensuring my team is engaged and empowered to do their job and have the tools they want to do it. Because I want to, kind of give them the opportunities I had at M3. I've been there for about 4 years and provide them a path to growth too.
So onwards and upwards.
Onwards and upwards, yes.
So sort of we come to the end of this, there are probably quite a few people who will be watching this who are trying to figure out, contemplating, is a graduate degree for them. What advice would you give to someone who is contemplating starting an MBA program?
Well, an easy answer is just do it, right? But in general, my life advice is to do things before you're ready, or if you're not ready. So if someone's considering the Mercer MBA program, just apply now. Time doesn't stop, and the opportunities it can bring you are outstanding. And so I feel like the longer you wait to get an MBA, the less it will pay off, because you work for the degree, but afterwards the degree works for you. So the longer you wait, the less the degree can work for you and give you that ROI on the investment you're willing to make for it.
That's great words of advice. I'd actually, sometimes I may have to actually take up on that myself to actually pay attention to what you just said, because sometimes that is reflective of me. But Haley, thank you very much for joining me today. I really, really do appreciate it. And you have a good rest of your day.
Thank you, Matt. It was a pleasure.